Françoise Clément. Moi, je voulais savoir pourquoi, lors de la dernière rencontre, la séance extraordinaire du 18 décembre, on parlait du budget, je sais, mais il y a eu aussi des questions très pertinentes de plusieurs citoyens et aucune des questions qui ont été posées, qui vous ont été posées et auxquelles souvent aussi vous avez répondu, rien de ça n'a été noté dans le procès verbal du 18 décembre. Je me demande pourquoi.
Je laisse la parole à mon frère,
Oui.
le greffier. Greffier, excusez.
Oui, la réponse est simple. Normalement, quand une réunion comme ce soir, il y a une période dédiée des questions avec le micro, avec l'enregistrement sur l'into, tout ça. Tout là. Par contre, pendant la réunion pour le Conseil, pour le budget, vous vous rappelez, il y avait Mme Cousson qui présentait, et au fur et à mesure, il y avait des interventions de plusieurs personnes dans la foule. C'est impossible sur l'enregistrement de suivre qui a dit quoi. Personne s'est identifié au préalable. Des fois, on entendait mal parce qu'il n'y avait pas de micro à chaque chaise. Bref, c'est pour ça qu'il n'y avait pas de période de questions spécifiques.
D'accord. Je comprends pour le budget parce que les gens posaient des questions. C'était un peu un dialogue. D'ailleurs, bravo pour cette dame-là. C'était très bien présenté ce qu'elle a fait. Mais il y a eu des questions sur le portail, sur le site web. Il y a eu des questions sur les gens qui les litiges avec la ville. Vous avez même dit, M. Harel, on va gagner toutes les batailles.
Oh, c'est pas moi qui ai dit ça.
Oui, vous avez dit,
C'est pas moi qui ai dit ça.
vous avez dit, on va toutes les gagner. C'est un monsieur qui a posé la question. Il a parlé des conteneurs qu'on voit un petit peu partout. Il y a eu d'autres questions, là, la rue Montagne. Mais il n'y a rien de ces questions-là, là, on ne parlait plus du budget, là. Il n'y a rien, aucune de ces questions très pertinentes ne sont apparues dans le procès verbal. Et ça, je trouve ça dommage. Pourquoi on était là, on le sait, on était là, on s'en souvient. Là, je ne pourrais pas reformuler exactement ce qui a été dit, mais je ne suis pas payée pour faire ça non plus, là. Alors, c'est à vous à faire ça. Les questions étaient là, étaient pertinentes, étaient intéressantes, et vous avez même... Vous les avez entendus puisque vous avez répondu. Alors ça, je trouve ça dommage. J'espère que ça n'arrivera plus. Bon, c'est fini pour ça.
Le micro.
Bonsoir, Monsieur le maire, messieurs, dames du Conseil, messieurs. Mes questions s'adressent au changement 202-307 dont on a discuté dernièrement, là, très récemment, à partir de 6 heures. Et j'avais quelques questions à poser juste pour que les précisions soient... que tout le monde qui est venu assister à cette réunion soit au courant. D'abord, pouvez-vous nous expliquer pourquoi vous avez été obligé de faire ce changement ce soir, étant donné que les changements que la MRC a effectués remontent à il y a 5 ans? Someone want to take that?
Oh, I'd love to take it.
OK.
On avait l'obligation, sur la part de l'MRC, d'adopter minimalement qu'est-ce qu'il était aux réunions qui étaient présentées.
Okay, but it was 5 years ago.
Parce que maintenant, on n'a rien. Si quelqu'un présente une demande demain matin pour une carrière sorcière, on n'a rien pour adopter ça. Alors maintenant, avec ça, on avait quelque chose. Puis pour la distance, on va garder ça probablement pour faire des changements dans le prochain mois. On va faire le processus pour faire des changements pour modifier la distance.
Okay, but to be clear on this also in English, so that
No, I prefer French is fine.
well, do we have English reporters
Oh,
here?
I see. Oh, sorry about that.
We have English reporters present in the room, I believe. Yes. Okay, we do. We have at least one. The question is that one of the requirements that would pertain to sand quarries, for example, or any other type of exploitation like that, there's a minimum distance that's prescribed by the MRC between those any such operations and anything which is called an usage sensible. So it's a house or a residence or a park or a school or what have you. Okay, something which wouldn't necessarily want to be right next to a quarrying operation of any kind. There are minimum distances that are set out by the MRC in their law. The council has mirrored that, but they have the option, according to the bylaws that were put out by the MRC, to make that distance greater. It is up to the discretion of individual councils. And what was suggested tonight, because there's certainly, council mentioned there are at least 8 zones there where people could be affected by this change in bylaw. And the request was made to them to include the paragraph from the MRC's bylaw that would formalize council's option to extend that minimum distance. Okay. Is council choosing tonight not to exercise their right to do that when this bylaw comes up for adoption?
The council, right now we have nothing to control gravel pits or sand pits. Nothing. If there's a demand tomorrow morning and we haven't adopted this tonight, a request tomorrow morning, we would have to, we have no control. So we are adopting minimal distance, as she stated, in the bylaw of the MRC. It's like the environment bylaw concerning riverbanks, the lake shore. The government is 10 meters. We're 15. But we didn't change that overnight. And some is 45 meters, which some were abusive in that part. But in all due respect, we adopted it. We went further and we made the changes. Now we're doing the same thing with this. We're adopting this tonight, and we will make the necessary changes after we study in the 8 zones that we're training to. So there is no worry. We have a minimum, by adopting this, we have a minimum guarantee with control over the sand pits and gravel pits. Your next question.
The minimum is 600 meters. I would put it to anyone sitting on council in this room whether they would want to be 600 meters from a new quarrying operation.
Thank you. Your second, you have the right to a suggestion.
Right. But so basically you're saying council is choosing not to insert that paragraph, although they could. They could do that tonight, but you've chosen not.
We're not picking a figure out of the hat.
All right,
We're going to study it and change it according to the law after it's adopted.
That's fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only point that I want to make, which Mr. Falcaro made during that discussion, was that any additional change is going to require, unlike this bylaw, which we are told is not subject to there's a public consultation, but is not subject to a referendum. Okay, because it's because we're told it's because they're trying to align with MRC requirements. But Mr. Falcaro said that any other change would require a register and a referendum process. Was that a correct understanding?
That is correct.
Okay.
We have to follow.
So it would not be that straightforward.
Project 1,
right.
Deposition, then the public consultation, then adopting the project 2, but also having the, yes, right. You're correct.
But if council added this paragraph now, which the MRC stipulates, you would have the latitude to exercise your authority as a council to enlarge that distance. It doesn't pin you to a distance. It just formalizes the fact that you can, in fact, exercise your authority.
Yes,
right.
Do all that.
Right. But you're choosing not to do it.
No, we're choosing tonight to adopt it, to have something in place to control it.
Without that paragraph.
Without what paragraph?
Without that third paragraph that says that, I mean, I can read it in French for you. En fonction de la nature des activités des sites miniers présents sur leur territoire, les municipalités pourront prévoir des distances minimales supérieures ou exiger des mesures d'atténuation pour encadrer l'implantation de nouvelles usages sensibles. If you included that, my understanding would be that would give council the full latitude, okay, to impose a larger distance if, in their judgment, it was required. Correct?
Go ahead, Owen.
The answer is absolutely not. That paragraph you read is from the MRC bylaw, and it does indeed note that the towns can do more than the distances required by law by the MRC. But the second we go 1 inch further than what is in the actual bylaw, we're into a regular changement de zonage, d'urbanisme, with the process of a possible register and so on.
So the onus will then be placed on the concerned citizens.
What I'm telling you is,
To
what it
correct
says
that.
here that the MRC reiterates that towns have the power to do more.
Right.
We already have that power. It adds nothing to put that in there. It's the fact that if we try to change an amount that's higher than the 600 or the 125, there will be a different process and there will be a possibility of a referendum.
And I think it would add something to
Adding
it.
this will change absolutely nothing to the powers this council has yesterday, today, or tomorrow.
I don't understand the logic at all, since you're saying that you have to base yourself on the MRC's outline. This is part of the MRC's outline. You have omitted the paragraph that would give you the latitude that the MRC grants you to protect the population if it was required.
Just so it's clear, if the town decides to adopt a bylaw with distances farther than what the MRC has proposed, we would have to do the regular zoning change process, whether this little paragraph is in this bylaw or not.
Yeah,
That doesn't change anything. It doesn't give us an échappatoire to skip the referendum process.
Thank you.
And the only reason that this bylaw has been proposed now is because I understand we had not aligned ourselves previously with the MRC's requirements from 5 years ago. Is that correct?
That was adopted at the end of 2018.
And we had not
COVID
done it.
came,
Right, yeah,
2020,
understood.
21, and everything was put back.
Right.
And finally, all the other municipalities are adopting it too.
And there was no other pressing need, no other expansion of business, no other new demand that was prompting us to consider
Right
this.
now, no. It's, like I said before at the public consultation, it's like the mini entrepot, where 8 more places and zones could put them, and maybe one, like, let's say, in front of Francis McKean. Would you want a mini entrepot to come out and have it there? It can't be done, but I'm just saying that. And there was entrances to our town, both in Foster, West Rome, and even on Victoria Street, where it was allowed. So by us putting a moratorium on it, they are not allowed to make any requests after the moratorium. They're not. This is the same thing. We have no power control right now. So we could, let's say we wait another 4 or 5 months, and then tomorrow or in March we get a request. Then what? Then we're blamed. So we're adopting this minimum, and we will make the change necessary for the distance.
And no one is
That's-
suggesting you
that's
do
a-
that, and I commend the council on their action, and the action that you just described.
Well, thank you very much.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
J'ai une petite question.
Maintenant,
Chantal Brodeur.
c'est ça. Non, pour moi, c'est pas dans les-
Oui, c'est correct. Me référant au bulletin municipal d'information que vous avez fait paraître pour l'hiver 2024, dans le registre des nombreux projets immobiliers sur la table, j'avais une question concernant Chemin Tibet Hills, où il y a environ 29 terrains pour des résidences unifamiliales. Présentement, sur Tibet Hills, de mémoire, je pense que c'est des puits que les maisons possèdent. Il n'y a pas d'infrastructure au niveau canalisation, c'est exact?
À l'endroit où est-ce qu'il y a un projet, il y aurait de la canalisation. Il y
Ah,
aurait des
voilà.
trous aqueducs.
Il y aurait de la canalisation. Est-ce que ça sera aux frais du promoteur?
Toujours.
Toujours. OK. Vous répondez très bien à ma question. Merci.
Merci, Mme Roder. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions? Alors, on va continuer avec l'ordre du jour. We'll continue with the agenda for tonight's meeting.